Okay, it's back to just me this week, folks. I hope you enjoyed those past two guest episodes. It was an absolute pleasure to spend some time with Daisy and Charlie, and sitting down with John was a really interesting conversation at the Swanky Hotel. What a name, eh? Ain't that great? But before those episodes came out, a listener out there named Ed wrote in asking about how to join cycling club group rides. Ed was saying his wife is a world-class masters racer who is going to be joining the International Cycling Union, the UCI, Gran Fondo World Championships in Niseko this year. Wow, how about that? Ed, your missus must be quite the machine to be joining that. Wow. But this is a really interesting event in that it will be the first time that this event has ever been held in Asia. Cool. Best of luck to Ed's wife. But Ed was saying, while his wife is training for the race, Ed wants to get some rides in with some locals. Ride the routes they like, get to know them. And it's just a great idea to get to know a place. Locals usually know best, right? So there are definitely lots of cycling groups and clubs about. In the Sapporo area, there are groups like the Hana Cycle Club, and they have rides all over Hokkaido. And then there's the group Niseko Discovery Cycling. Both those groups offer different rides for people of various fitness levels. But groups like that charge an entry fee to join a ride. And I think I saw one of the rides the Niseko Discovery Cycling Group is offering. They have like up to 300 riders joining the group. And I think some of the rides can get a bit pricey. I think some of them are close to 10,000 yen to join. So I have a feeling that what Ed was looking for is something much simpler, kind of just meeting up with locals in a less formal setting than a larger organized event like what Hana or Niseko Discovery offer. Now, unless I'm wrong there, if Hana or Niseko Discovery Cycling is exactly what you're looking for, Ed, go for it. They will probably be able to set you up with a very large group ride that's guided, well-known routes and all that kind of jazz. If that's what you're looking for, great. I hope I've hit the nail on the head right there. But if you're looking to meet up in a less formal thing, another good option would be to just post something on Reddit. There are constantly people offering group rides, wanting to join group rides, and having success in getting what they want in the Reddit app. Sorry, a little bit of a brain further. But yeah, lots of people do that. I kind of didn't really want to give this as advice to you because I wanted something more concrete, but I reached out to a few people, and it turns out maybe another one of the best ways to go about joining a local group ride would be looking through the Facebook cycling groups. Groups like Cycling in Japan, Japan Cycling Navigator, or Bicycle Touring, Hiking and Friends in Japan. If you posted something in one of those groups saying that you were looking for a group ride, I am sure something would shake loose for you. Because I know a couple of locals here in Sapporo, they don't quite post those group rides on those Facebook groups. But if you said you were looking for a group ride, I'm sure people would get in touch with you. And there are people all over Niseko, all over Hokkaido that are a part of those groups. So just saying, hey, looking for a group ride on Sunday in Niseko, again, I'm sure you'd get some nibbles there. But another thing, also check out the local bike shops. For example, Rhythm in Niseko, I've heard, is working on their own tours for summer and winter at the moment. And I was actually chatting with Brad Bennett of the tour company freewheeling.jp, and he was saying that last year he ran a few free community rides for Rhythm last year. So Rhythm, if you're going to be in Niseko, Rhythm might be a good spot to check out. And Ed, I think you were also kind of asking about etiquette on a Japanese group ride. And I got in touch with Gareth Evans of the tour company Air Bike Tours. And he came back with some great information. Personally, I don't spend a lot of time in group rides. So this was interesting for me as well. Now, here in Japan, pedestrians always have the right of way. And on shared paths, cyclists are expected to go slow and give generous space to pedestrians. And another thing that was interesting is that bell use is very different here. You can give a single gentle ding as an alert, but it's very rude here to use it as a way to get people to move out of the way. I mean, like if you're cycling down a path and you're just hammering that bell, that is apparently a cultural no-no here. Again, the pedestrian has the right of way. You're also expected to ride as a group. They don't like individuals who put on sudden bursts of speed or suddenly veer off to the left, going to check out some tree stump or whatever. They like predictability here in their group rides. And one comparison I thought was interesting was that apparently in Western group rides, you're supposed to take your turn in the lead and set a pace. Well, here in Japan, they don't want anybody pushed into an uncomfortable pace, generally. Generally. I have seen group rides saying it's no drop until a certain point in the day. Then the fast people are going to hit it. And then from that point on, it's a drop ride, right? So yes, you can find rides that will put some pressure on people. But for the most part, a group ride here is not about, maxing out the weakest rider. It's more of an inclusive thing for all. And another thing to be aware of when you are riding in Japan, for things like snacks and things, be prepared to take your trash along for the ride. Trash bins can be few and far between, or at least carry your trash to the next convenience store, which should happen along quite soon here in Japan, even in rural areas. Okay, Ed, I know that's probably not exactly what you were looking for, but it was a little bit difficult to dig up specific information on real locals that do group rides because they tend to stick to their own, within their own community. But like I said, throw something up on Facebook, throw something up on Reddit, and I'm sure you'll be able to find what you're looking for. Okay, again, Ed, thank you very much for writing in, and I hope you have a great time at that UCI World Masters Championships in Niseko. I imagine that event's going to be a lot of fun. And good luck to your wife. Now, over the past few weeks, I've done some great riding out there. This first ride I want to tell you about is kind of more of a history lesson. I know I'm kind of a dork for doing this, but I think some of you out there are probably finding value in this. So I'm going to keep going. So I was scrolling around Google Maps one night looking for a place to ride, and I noticed there was a kind of historical marker on Ranshima Beach, on the map, on the Google map for Ranshima Beach. Now, I've been to Ranshima Beach a ton of times over my life here in Hokkaido. I've ridden there a ton of times. It's right there in between Otaru and Yoichi. I've slept on that beach a few times, but I never knew it was historically significant. It is recognized as the oldest recreational beach in Hokkaido, the birthplace of sea bathing up here in Hokkaido. Story is, folks, in 1899, when the Ranshima railway station opened, the railway station opens up and then people were like, hey, look at that beautiful beach right there. Then it grows in popularity. Local businesses, local bigwigs put certain events together, this, that, and the other. And 4 years later, in 1903, it was officially opened as Ranshima Beach. Now, to say a beach was officially open might sound a bit funny. I get it. Obviously, beach bums and layabouts, have been soaking up the sun, lollygagging in the surf since forever, right? But people gave it that official stamp, boom, in 1903. There you go, folks. All the information you never knew you needed to know. But I don't know, even myself, picking up little tidbits like that on the bike, it was worth the 110-kilometer ride. Just to read that sign. It was totally worth it for me. Folks, another ride I'm really happy I got done was the Eniwa waterfalls. Now, I wanted to go see them last year, but it just didn't happen. One thing or the other, you know how these things go, right? And to be honest, I can't believe it took me this long to see them. Now, let me tell you the route first. And of course, the route is up on my Ride with GPS. But let me just walk you through it here. So from Sapporo, we made our way to Route 453. That's the same road you would head to Lake Shikotsuko on. But folks, my God, I got to tell you, that morning, the Englishman and I, Big Steve, that morning was just brutal. I mean, well, for one thing, I was hungover. Oops. Yeah, it was kind of the end of Golden Week, and I'd been at a Golden Week party. There were a bunch of people getting together as you do during the holidays, and one beer leads to another, and the next thing you know, you're cycling on the way to Lake Shikotsu into a brutal headwind, climbing more than you'd like. Anyway, stuff like that happens, right? I think it happens to everybody, right? But my God, I'm telling you, folks, the first 40 kilometers of that ride, were just brutal. Memories, eh? Anyway, so we're on Route 453. And to get to the Eniwa waterfalls, you turn left at one point. I think it's the bottom of the second descent. You turn left at Eniwa Dake Park Line. The signs are very well marked for Eniwa. And that road from Route 453 is all downhill. So that was a really welcome relief that morning. But I also got to say that Eniwa Dake Park Line, the actual condition of the asphalt, the road conditions were horrible. Holy smokes. Most of the road, the entire way, was brutally potholed, broken asphalt. Because it was so windy, there was all kinds of debris all over the road. I mean, like tree branches down. There was all kinds of stuff. But the road was just an absolute mess. And you couldn't really avoid it because if you got up on the sidewalk, well, then you were kind of dealing with all the tree branches that had been popping up through the sidewalk over the years, right? It was really, really in poor condition, that road. Now, there were very small sections where they've obviously fixed it and repaved it, but those were few and far between. I was really surprised at how rough a shape that road was. That was pretty surprising. So it made for pretty harsh riding, even though it was a descent all the way into Eniwa. But anyway, the waterfalls are kind of right along that way. And the waterfalls are called the Hakusen Falls, which is the first one you come across going that way, and which is by far the most dramatic waterfalls of the three. There are the Narumanai Falls, and then the last one is the Sandan Falls. The Sandan Falls was kind of okay, It was kind of under a concrete bridge, so that kind of didn't really add to it. The first two looked nice, but definitely the first one, the Hakusen Falls, definitely the best one. But I'm still happy I got to see them, right? You get to tick that box, right? After that, we kind of went through Eniwa, then we kind of zigzagged our way through the Eniwa farmland to the We zigzagged our way through the Eniwa farmland to the Kita Hiroshima cycling road, then home. So, hey, after a rough start, it turned into a damn fine day. Which brings me to the best ride I've done so far this year. Folks, last weekend, I saw the weather was looking good, so I went up and over the Asari Pass. Again, pics are all up on the Cycling Hokkaido podcast Instagram page and my Ride with GPS, which I'll add links to. Again, this week, I don't think I've added any links in the last few podcasts to my Ride with GPS, but folks, I think you know it's there anyway, right? But I went up and over the pass from the Otaru side. Now, that's the steep side of the pass. But the road that you actually ride, the actual name of the road is called the Otaru Jozanke line. And the most notable feature of that line is right at the start in Asari, right kind of in front of the Asari ski hill, very close to the Asari Onsen, the Asari hot spring, and that is the Asari Sky Loop. It's also immediately in front of the Asari Dam. Folks, riding the Asari Sky Loop, woo! It is this massive roundabout structure that is pretty high in the sky. Wow, I'm not the best with heights on structures like that, to say the least. So I kind of peek over the edge from time to time, but I don't really stand on the edge of it and soak in the full view. Honestly, folks, I kind of just put my head down and power myself through it. I do take a couple of cheeky little glances over the edge, but it gives me the willies being up there that high. And on a bicycle, I mean, you're so exposed, and you're sitting at when you're in the saddle, you're sitting at like the same height as the guardrail in some points. You know what I mean? Woo-hoo. It's up there, folks. I'm telling you, if you get a chance to ride it, please do, and get back to me. Let me know what you think. There are a few switchbacks after that, but it is a beautiful ride. This was if you recall, this was actually one of my options in my top 5 rides to do from Sapporo. I mentioned, riding in Jozanke and then either going over the Asari Pass or the Nakayama Pass, right? I had those 2 options. But in that episode, I was talking about climbing it from the Jozanke side. If you go up from the Jozanke side, it is a much gentler climb, but it's much longer. So, 6 to 1, half dozen of the other, I guess. Going from the Otaru side, you got a steep but short climb. Going from the Jozanke side, you're in for a much longer climb with a bit of steepness at the very end at the top. But either way, the views up there are gorgeous. And I was lucky enough that it was already green and lush. But there was still snow at the very top of the mountains. So, I had that really vibrant green, the bright blue skies with the shimmering white snow still on the mountaintops. It was gorgeous. I was just in heaven. When I was stopping, I found that I wasn't really taking breaks on that ride. Of course, when you ride a mountain pass, you do take breaks. But I wasn't really taking breaks. I was stopping to take a picture. I was stopping to soak in the scenery. My kind of, how would you say this? My kind of awe at looking at those scenes was kind of just erasing any tiredness I was having in my legs. And to be honest, I've been doing quite a bit of climbing in and out of Otaru this year and along my Atsuta ride. So my legs actually felt really good this early in the season, getting up the Asari Pass. I'm pretty happy with how I did that. Now, again, don't get me wrong. I am never the fastest person climbing a hill out there. But I felt really good. And hey, isn't that what it's all about, folks? Self-improvement, right? Not judging by some 20-year-old metric who flies up hills on a 2-pound carbon bat bike. right? I felt really good doing that climb that day. So I was really, really happy with that. And the scenery, again, the scenery was just making it even more worthwhile. Then the descent into Jozanke takes you past Lake Sapporo. It's a dam lake. It's a very, very large dam lake. So I don't know what your feelings are on dams and humans messing with nature. Either way, it's a beautiful spot for a bike ride. That whole ride, the Asari Pass, is really worth the climb. But for me, starting from Ishikari, I actually kind of technically went over 2 mountain passes that day. The Hariusu Pass, which heads into Otaru, then the Asari Pass. Those two made it a 1,135 meter climbing day and a total of 110 kilometers in the saddle for the day. Plus, again, the weather being gorgeous. Although the morning started out very misty, you couldn't see the top of the mountains from down below. I was a bit nervous about that, but luckily the forecast was right, because as soon as I turned in Otaru to head to Asari, the sun just opened up. It was gorgeous. Everything came together to make for the ride of the season. as early as that may be to say. But it really was, that Asari ride, that was my best ride so far this year. I'm stoked I got that done. And I did it solo as well. You know, I know sometimes maybe riding a mountain pass isn't the best idea to do solo. But, you know, it was Sunday. There's lots of traffic going up the pass. I wasn't doing any hiking or anything. The main road is well-traveled. There's motorbikes. There's noise all up there. So, you know, the bear fear is minimized. Just an excellent ride to do, folks. If you're ever in this area and you get a chance, please ride the Asari Pass. You will not be disappointed. All right, folks. I hope you've got some good ideas from this episode, whether it's for group rides or places to go and see here. Folks, next week, I've got a couple of more guests. I'm going to be talking to an amazing couple. The couple behind the Cycle 5 to Survive Instagram page, YouTube page, TikTok, you name it. Cycle 5 to Survive is out there. I am really looking forward to my conversation with them. They are doing some amazing things out there. So I hope you're looking forward to that episode, because seriously, folks, they are raising so much money for charity. I'm really excited to get the lowdown on all the great things they're doing. Look for that episode next Friday. Folks, thanks again for tuning in. Have fun out there. Love ya. Cycling to Hokkaido!